Hello, and thank you for exploring Lakehead International's videos. My name is Jordan, and I am the International New and Social Media Officer. I'm also the host of the Lakehead International Live series, a fun and informative way for you to connect with current international students, professors, and ask questions about admissions and everything Lakehead. You are about to watch a recording from one of our previous live sessions. If any questions arise throughout the video, please do not hesitate to comment below. If you would like to check out some of our upcoming live sessions, please head over to our website at lakeheadu.ca/international-live. Let's begin.
And so on that note, we'll dive into today's topic about living on campus and life on campus in general. And I'll first cover sort of the benefits about living on campus residence before we actually introduce the topics and look at the options that we have for you in the future. So first and foremost, living on campus is really convenient. You are steps away from all campus buildings in either one of our campuses. So whether you're living in Orillia or Thunder Bay, you're just steps away from being at your academic building, at our cafeteria to grab a snack before class, any one of those things. And so again, that convenience, being able to, as I say, roll out of bed sometimes and just go to class or grab that meal on the way to class is really great. Another great aspect about living on our on-campus communities, and something we strongly recommend for new students, especially first-year students where this is your first time leaving home, you will have the opportunity to build lifelong connections, friendships, and networks. So whether it's through a professional sense and you're building connections with our resident services team, or if it's a friendship sense and you're making friends with your roommates, your housemates, both are really interchangeable in that sense too. Whether you meet somebody in another program, then you might have that professional connection or you're building that network, but our resident services team are also your friends and they're here to support you and guide you in your journey at Lakehead. There's also leadership and job opportunities available within our resident services team, and we'll actually go over sort of some of those roles, but some of those aspects of building those lifelong connections are tied directly into the activities and programming that's hosted on campus, and more specifically, the activities and programs hosted by our resident services team. And so with that being said, there's opportunities to actually lead those activities, that job hunt, whether you're looking for a committee seat or you're looking for actually a paid position, there's a wide variety of opportunities. And last but not least, our residence is safe and secure. So there is security on site on both of our campuses. As well, you do have resident assistants always on call throughout your day, your evening, whatever time it is, there's somebody available to assist you with whatever need you might have. And so on that note, maybe I'll pass it over to Michelle, and I'll see if she has anything to add on life on campus or anything to touch up on these topics.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, I think you did a great job highlighting all the important key aspects of living on campus. It's important to note that we are here to help you with that transition. There's so much for you to learn, not only being maybe new to university, but also new to Canada or new to Thunder Bay. And your resident services team is really here to help you with that whole transition. So we're going to help you not only academic support wise and program wise, but we'll also make sure you're getting to know the community you're going to call your new home.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Michelle. And on that note, it's a segue right back into you actually. So we're going to chat first about our Thunder Bay residents. So for those folks exploring academic programs offered directly on our Thunder Bay campus, these are going to be the options available for you on campus living. And then we'll chat about Orillia in just a moment here. So I'll pass it back to Michelle to chat a bit about residence halls.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those residence halls to highlight. Those are for your first year students coming out of high school, and it's our dormitory style. So you have two options of room sizes when choosing Bartley residence. You'll have your single room and your basic single room. You'll notice that the difference in the two rooms are the size of the rooms. We provide all of the furniture and amenities for you. So when you come and travel from wherever you are at the moment to make Thunder Bay your home, you don't have to bring any furniture. We provide mini fridges in all of our rooms. You're just going to provide your personal belongings to make it your home. It's important to note we don't have double rooms. So all of our rooms are single rooms, and we're going to take a look in a bit about what that bigger the single room looks like. So you're just deciding, do I want maybe a cozier option, or do I want a little bit more space? And that's just based off of your preference. In Bartley, you're still going to have access, or in Peddie residence, to a lounge for your house. You're going to have access to a study room and a storage room. And you're also going to have access to laundry facilities located right on campus. And now we also have our Peddie residence, which is where our primarily all-female floor is located. So if that is an option for you, or if you would like a quiet house option, that is located in our Bartley residence. So take a look when we're going through that application, and we'll talk about the importance of selecting best choice for yourself. And here is that look at that Bartley single room. Again, it's just a little bit larger than the single room, or the basic single room, sorry. And you'll see everything is provided for you. Everything in furniture-wise in this photo is already there when you move in. Bed, desk, closet space, mini fridge. We have wireless internet all throughout our residence buildings. And then we'll talk about the residence life support a little bit later on.
Awesome. And something I always like to note, I feel like maybe people probably get annoyed if you've joined one of these sessions before, you've heard me talk about this, but the windows in our residence accommodations are absolutely massive, and they shed a lot of light into your room. Natural light is both good for just healthy living, but also having a window that you can also crack open and get some fresh air is really important if you're cooped up in your room, or even if you're feeling a little under the weather. Sometimes just getting a bit of fresh air without leaving your room. But then also access to nature on our Thunder Bay campus and our Orillia campus are second to none, in my opinion, and you'll see that and hear about it quite a bit. And so we'll chat a bit more about that, but next I'll pass it over to Jess, who's going to chat about apartments and townhouses.
Yeah, so for apartments and townhouses, the biggest difference is that these are traditionally for our upper year students, and they are group living environments. So we do still have single rooms. You're never going to share your individual bedroom with someone else, but you are going to be sharing that common space area with a few roommates. So we like to encourage students to live in our res halls that first year, get to know some people, make some friends, and then maybe you're going to live in an apartment or townhouse together second year and above. So as you can see with both the apartments and the townhouses, we have both of their little blueprints here. And similar to res halls, they come ready-made. So you don't need to bring any furniture. You don't need to bring a fridge with you. I don't know if you could even bring that on a plane, but it's all there. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress about going out and finding those items. You do see that there's a full kitchen. In apartments, you have 2 bathrooms. In a townhouse, you have 1, but it's a 2-floor living environment. So if you like that separation maybe of the main floor and where your bedroom is, townhouse might be a great option. Or if you like to have maybe 2 bathrooms and a little bit of a more one-level environment, apartments might be a great place for you.
Awesome. And Jess, on your mention about maybe not being able to bring a fridge on an airplane, it's funny that my director actually just recently hosted a session with many of our applicants from India, and he wanted to remind our friends in India that there's no need to send your son or daughter with a pressure cooker either. There's access to plenty of stores here in Thunder Bay as well as Orillia, where you can buy those basic utensils and items, whether it's the bedding, the pillows, the kitchen supplies, the ingredients, the food itself to cook. You can do all of that here. There's going to be plenty of webinars coming up this summer from our International Student Services team about what to pack and what to bring here to Canada. And we'll also note sort of maybe our recommendations along whether there's a favorite snack or treat or spice back home that we encourage you actually to find room in your bag. But those bigger items, don't worry about it. We have you covered here in our hometowns. And so on that note, I'll show the first photo of apartments and I'll let Jess elaborate, and then we'll show off our townhomes too.
Yeah, so Jordan talked a lot about kitchen utensils, appliances, things like that. You can buy some of those smaller things when you get here. And this is the kitchen facility that you do have. So you'll notice you have a full-size fridge, full oven and stovetop, as well as a microwave. And then not pictured in here is a very large freezer. So if you do want to use a freezer, we actually provide a second one for all students in both apartments and townhouses because it was something the students asked for. So we did it. Those are the things that we do with Lakehead that make it a wonderful residence experience. I'll talk about both window spaces in apartments and townhouses. So you saw there with apartments, huge window, really similar to what Jordan was saying about res halls. We like to make sure that the environments are light and you have that option to open the windows, look out to the beautiful animals, maybe you'll see some deer, and the beautiful environment in Thunder Bay. Townhouses here, this is our main floor. Just off to the one side of the photo, we have our kitchen, and there's also a dining room at the front of the townhouse, and this is your living space with a wonderful sliding door to a little patio that you have individual to your unit.
Awesome, and you can see that the furniture here is provided, as Jess and Michelle both mentioned, but some of those little creative details, or the volleyball, the yoga mat, that might not be included, but you can certainly spice up your own place pending whatever you want to make it your style. So that all the basics are here, and that's something I really want to drive home, is that there's no need to prepare or buy anything major for moving into on-campus residence. It's all here and ready for you, and it's simply a move-in ready accommodation. So that's something really great after a long journey to Canada, whether it's a 24-hour journey or a 48-hour journey plus. We've heard some of those stories, so we have plenty of recommendations for you. But on that note, I first want to show, before we go and chat about Orillia, I want to show you a beautiful sunset here on our Thunder Bay campus. On the left is actually one of our Bartley buildings, Bartley residence buildings. And so you see the 3 stories that Michelle mentioned, and how each floor has different residence halls, rooms in there, but the entire house or the entire building is considered one house. And we do have names for our houses. They're all reflected by our local region within Thunder Bay and the cities that we call close to home. But this is probably one of my favorite photos to showcase of residents, because a vast majority of our residents have this exact view or a very similar one. And sunsets here in Canada, I don't know if it's similar to across the world, but I am a killer for sunsets. So I always like to show it. And next we'll chat about Orillia residence, and I'll pass over to Lynn to chat first about a residence halls, and then we'll look at a photo inside also.
Thanks very much, Jordan. So for those of you who are joining us today who are interested in joining us in Orillia for your studies starting in September, I'm pleased to answer any questions regarding the residence facility. What you're seeing here is just a basic layout of our rooms. All of our rooms are single rooms. That's really important for you to understand. You will have a single bedroom with a double-sized bed, so a good-sized bed. And we also have lots of nice natural lighting, which you'll see shortly. You also have a sink in your room, so you can wash your hands, brush your teeth, have a glass of water. And you will have 2 options. You'll see on the applications this year. You can either choose a private bathroom, so nobody will be sharing the bathroom either. It's a private bedroom with a private bathroom, or you can share the bathroom with one other student who's on the opposite side of the bathroom. So that's what this image is trying to portray here. And I think if we look at the next, there we are. So now you have a photograph of a typical bedroom. This is not typical in the sense that how you'll decorate it, because you're going to add your personal touch. This is just a sample photograph showing the size of the bed, all of the shelving, all of the storage, the big closet on the left-hand side. And what we don't see is the sink area, but we'll see that probably in another slide, as well as the windows. I think we have one more slide that might show that.
We don't, sorry.
We don't.
That's okay.
That's
but
okay.
Behind the camera person right here is actually that window. And like I said, it's absolutely massive, and it lets a lot of light in. There's no flash or light on in this photo actually, which is surprising. So you can see just the amount of light that's bled in naturally from that window. Of course, you still have the option to close the blinds if you need a little bit of a shut eye in the early morning. Don't worry, you can close those blinds up and sleep in a bit longer.
And you'll also, we should also note that this building in Orillia is quite modern. It was built in 2000 and I'm going to say 11. So we're only 10 years old. And you might notice that part of the wall behind the shelving, the wall shelving, is actually concrete. So the sound is very well contained as well. and you can put anything up on the walls that are concrete, as long as, of course, it can come right back off. And you have a great big bulletin board behind the, right by your desk. That blue rectangular area is a bulletin board. So you can put, reminders and notes up on your bulletin board.
Awesome. So next we're going to chat about meal plans, pardon me. First, we're going to talk about Thunder Bay meal plans, and I'll go over sort of the basics, and then I'll have Michelle and Jess jump in and explain a little bit further. If I miss anything, we'll see. But essentially within our residence halls accommodations, so those are the ones where they are single bedrooms, where you have your basic accommodations there and your shared lounge space as well as a shared study space, but you don't have access to a direct kitchen facility. Other than within the lounge, you do have a few different amenities for your basics, like a kettle to boil some hot water for tea. But within residence halls, you do have a comprehensive mandatory meal plan as a part of the full package. And so we call it all access dining. As well, you also get an $800 declining balance included. And so students are allowed unlimited entry into our residence dining hall during the regular hours of operation. And then their declining balance dollars can actually be used across campus where food service is operated by Aramark. And so there's a variety of different options where you might want to use that. You can change it up. I'm really proud of our residence halls, though. I think that our residence halls dining team and Aramark Food Services, they work really closely with students on a regular basis to be appropriate to offer a wide variety of foods, whether it's foods that you would consider more traditional or traditionally offered in North America, but also reflecting what our students want and where our students come from. They're always working to evolve their menu and offer new and exciting options. And so I hope that you'll bring a family recipe one day and you can sit down with our chef. We can also accommodate many dietary restrictions. So whether you need halal food, vegan food, vegetarian food, if there's an allergy, we can accommodate it. And so that's something really important to know. If you're a part of our townhouses and apartments accommodations, of course, each unit does have that full kitchen available, and meal plans are not mandatory in that case. We do know many students actually do opt in for a smaller meal plan to supplement that full kitchen. And so maybe during that really busy academic time of the year, during exam seasons, as we like to say, sometimes students find the convenience of being able to hop into the residence hall cafeteria and just grab a quick bite to eat. Really convenient. But also if you're looking to simply cook meals and stick to maybe exactly what you want to make and you want to see what you're putting in, all that sort of stuff, that's obviously an option with apartments and townhouses. So as we like to say, the world is your oyster and you can certainly do as you please. I'll pass over to Michelle and Jessica to see if I missed anything or if they want to top up whatever I've mentioned already.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. I'm just going to highlight a point you made there about preferences and dietary needs and maybe some of those accommodations that people kind of worry coming to a place where they're not cooking themselves. And that's where our campus, being a smaller campus, you can communicate and chat right with our food provider about those dietary needs to make sure that you're getting the food that is best for you. So if it's halal or vegetarian or vegan or any of those options, as well as they're good at having them labeled so you know exactly what you're eating. And the second question that we tend to get for it, well, I guess there's a two-parter, is you can enter the cafeteria as many times as you want. So you don't have to just go on your scheduled meal times if you want a snack or a full meal. But as well as the options that are provided are a plethora of palettes. You can have everything from maybe a local Huayto Finnish pancake recipe to some Middle Eastern cuisine to maybe a Greek night. And so you're going to get food from all over the world through this meal plan. And like Jordan said, we're always looking for new options if you bring a recipe right from home.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next we'll chat about Orillia, which has a very similar meal plan. Again, it's a comprehensive mandatory meal plan. As noted by Lynn, there are no kitchen facilities within that residence. And so you will automatically be enrolled into that meal plan, but you do have a few options here. And so there is a 5-day meal plan and a 7-day meal plan. I'll pass it over to Lynn to sort of elaborate on the difference between the two options and what our recommendations are. But of course, if you have any further questions, we're always happy to address them as well.
Thanks, Jordan. Yes, so it's exciting that we can offer all of our students in Orillia 2 options, and you can choose whichever plan that you feel is the best for you. Our first plan is a 5-day meal plan. This is Monday to Friday, which means you can go in at any time of the day, evening, afternoon, and help yourself to the dining hall, food and beverage. Whereas the 7-day meal plan really is more comprehensive. I do recommend that if you're staying and living on campus, and you'll be on campus for most weekends, I really do recommend that you take advantage of the full 7-day meal plan. That is 7 days a week. You, again, morning, afternoon, evening, and the declining balance acts as flex dollars. So you have substantial amounts of flex dollars on both plans. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that regardless of the meal plan that you're on, all of our students eat at the same cafeteria, and it's the same menu for all of our students, regardless of the meal plan that you choose. If you opt for one meal plan and you want to change it, just let us know as soon as possible, and we'll see about letting you change from the 7 to the 5 or the 5 to the 7.
Awesome, good to know. And on that, we did receive a question from a student who would like to know a little bit more about what declining balance is. And so I'll elaborate on that. Essentially, we like to reference it as similar to a debit card. And so you have that total amount of money that then you get to charge on a regular basis. So maybe if you're on our Thunder Bay campus, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you go to Starbucks, can I get a head shake? Okay, yes. So if you go into Starbucks and you grab that coffee, you can use your declining balance to buy that coffee or latte, and then it subtracts off of what your total balance is. At any point throughout the year, you're more than welcome to top up that money, add a bit more, maybe nag your parents or your family members to send you a bit more because you want to get a few more lattes. Essentially, though, it's like a debit card. So I'm just going through a few other questions here to see if we can work them in. There's quite a few about applications, and we're really excited to actually chat about applications next. So why don't we dive right into that? Oh, pardon me. We can't skip over residence life. This is one of my favorite parts. So first we'll chat residence life, then we'll go into applications, which will address plenty of our questions in the Q&A right now. So hang tight for those. And on that note, I will pass it over to Jessica to kick things off with residence life.
Yeah, so like Jordan said, we can't skip residence life. It's a whole part of the experience. Yeah, so if you ask Michelle and I, and probably Shannon and Lynn as well, residence life is what makes the biggest difference between living in an apartment, maybe off campus, and living on campus, having an amazing experience filled with groups of leaders that are passionate about helping you have an amazing time at university. Their fellow peers, their fellow students as well, that are studying at Lakehead themselves, and they help program events and they help make sure that you're having a great time. They're also like an automatic friend, I like to think of them as. So if you come, whether it's in August or maybe you're coming right on move-in day in September, there's going to be residence life staff here that are going to welcome you and ask how you're doing and want to know all about your life and how you're excited about being at Lakehead. So we do have a few different positions. We have our resident assistants and our HPs, or our house presidents. Residents are those individuals that help program events. They do things right within your house, but they also do things that unite the entire residence community together. We do these things called Res Sports every Saturday. And this is an example of those residence-wide community things. For resident assistants, though, I will pass it over to Michelle for her to talk about those.
Thanks, Jessica. Yes, residence life is making this really your home, and your resident assistants work with your house presidents in each of your communities to really help you with that support. So they're here, yes, they provide programming for you, but they're here more as a bit of a support resource for you. So they will conduct nightly rounds to make sure that everyone isn't needing any support or assistance. They'll provide programming a little bit more educational. So they might collaborate with one of our centers on campus and bring them right to your residence. Maybe it's how to write a university exam, or bringing in one of our LUSU centers and running that program, or they might integrate you a little bit more into that Thunder Bay community with that educational component. It's really nice to know wherever you're coming from, wherever your home is right now, that when you move in, just like Jess said, not only do you have two people living right in your community that want to be your friend, but they also want to see you be successful and be that helping hand. Like I said, residence isn't just that home, it's that help for transition into university. And they're here, if it's not your RA, there will be an RA on call 24/7. So you're never alone, no matter where you're traveling from.
Awesome. And on that note, something I also wanted to mention, because I know many students or many parents are curious about this. RAs are trained and they go through a rigorous program to become an RA. And so with that being said, of course, they're a really great support service and they know exactly what to do. And at the end of the day, also our team here today, Jess, Michelle, Lynn, and Shannon are also on call to an extent from their RA aspect. And so any situations that arise, we're able to handle here at Lakehead University and make sure that you're fully supported in whatever occurs.
And I know Jess and I just talked mostly about residence life, but this is the same for Orillia campus as well. So it doesn't matter which campus you're making your new home, you're going to get that residence life support and that universal programming and care no matter where you're staying.
Awesome. And if anyone is interested in learning more about some of those fun activities that the HPs host or more of the academic supports that RAs focus on, you can certainly head over to our website, lakeheadu.ca, and explore more about on-campus residence and some of the benefits. Of course, we've had to cover it quite quickly today in order to talk about the application, which I was so happy to nearly jump over that whole section for. But I will pass it back to Michelle and Jessica, who are going to tag team the introduction here.
Yeah, so applying to res. You've heard all of the amazing things about it. You might be sitting there on the other end of the computer like, okay, I'm applying right now. Help me through it with us while I'm doing the webinar. Okay, so when you go to your My Info page, first of all, you're gonna have to log in. So we're gonna go step by step through that process and show you the screens that you might also see when you're doing this on your own. So first part is logging in. For your login, your username is that first part of your @LakeheadU email. So make sure to put that, and then the password is also going to be that same password that you're going to use to log into your email. This is also just future tip. This is also the same login information that you're going to use for the Wi-Fi that's available across campus. So we'll go to our next slide here to show you. There might be a few different tabs that people will see. So we've included all different options depending on where you are in this application process. So for those of you that are an undergraduate applicant, you're going to see the first box on the left-hand side of the screen there. If you're a graduate student, that middle one, and then if you're already a currently registered student or a student that has been with us before, you're going to see the Students All Levels tab. So as you can see, we've circled where you're going to find that Apply to Residence link in each of these categories. So make sure that when you're looking through your My Info area, be mindful of what type of student you're being considered or applicant that you're being considered, because the view might be different than maybe one of your friends. They might have a different look on their My Info. So once you click into the Apply for Residence side, you're going to see Thunder Bay Housing Applications as its own little individual tab. So look for that and then click Apply to Residence, and it's going to start that process that Michelle will talk about.
Yeah, so whether you click Thunder Bay or Orillia campus, it's going to come up to this profile. So now you're creating your profile for living in residence. And this is where it's important to include all information you feel important. And we have also highlighted as important for you to share with us. So this first page is just your basic information. So your name and contact information and things like that. And then you're going to click to the next one. And this is where it's very important to know, are you coming to the Thunder Bay campus or are you choosing the Orillia campus? So that first circle that you see at the top, that's where you're going to select which campus you're coming to. And then underneath, all new international students, whether you're coming straight from high school or you're a mature student or a graduate student, are going to select yes for international students. This way we can best support you on your incoming into residence. If you are a high school student coming to residence for the first time, when you fill out that first page, we're gonna look and see how old you are and notice that, okay, you are going to fit best in our dormitory style, or we're gonna place you based off of preferences, or maybe you've reached out individually after the application process. Please remember, international student is where you are to select yes to continue this application. And from there, then we're going to get to know you a little bit more. So this is where you're going to put some of your living preferences. If you prefer to live in a quiet environment, I chatted about some hall options. That's where maybe you'll be living in a quiet house in residence halls. You'll still get the same resources and residence services provided for you. Your living space is just a little bit quieter than the other living spaces on campus. Alcohol-free is also an option, and this is where all of those important details are included.
And one of those last final steps is reading through that contract, right? Whenever you're agreeing to live somewhere, you're gonna probably have some sort of contract that has the terms of your living agreement. I would strongly encourage you to read this through fully. Okay, yes, you do need to click those boxes, and you can click those boxes and hit next, but you're also agreeing to our community standards. It outlines kind of charges or fees, things like that. So make sure that you read through the contract before you continue on to this next step.
Before we move on, I'll also mention too, if you have any questions about the contract, so maybe you're reading through it yourself, if you're sitting down with your parent or your guardian and you're reviewing it, and maybe you're slightly confused by a section of it, or you have a few more questions just to get a few more details, by all means, reach out to our resident services team. We have a dedicated administrator who would be happy to answer those questions, but also we're accessible and we want to make sure that you feel supported in this transition. And so whatever the question might be, whether it's little or large, we're happy to answer it. And so like Jess said, once you click agree on those and you click to the next step, you're brought to this page, which I'll let her elaborate on.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. And it's true what Jordan said, though, no question, either too small or large, is considered unimportant to us. We truly want to help you with all of those questions that you have. And when you're agreeing to something, you want to make sure that you fully understand it. So please make sure to reach out if you have those questions with the contract. So finalizing this whole process, though, you're going to get this final screen once you've gone through all of these steps, okay? It's really important to read through each of these because even though you've finished your application at this point, once you click finish, you haven't fully applied to residence. You've put your name down, you're in the list, but you haven't paid the deposit yet. So you do need to put that $500 down payment onto your residence fee. And once you've clicked finish, it's going to take you back to that home page of My Info. And in that My Info page, which Jordan can show us on the next slide here, you're going to see that right below that apply for residence part that you saw when you first started this process, there's a pay residence down payment part. So make sure to go to that right after. I would encourage you to do it as soon as you can after that application process because it's still going to be fresh in your mind. That's going to fully secure your spot in residence. So make sure to do that. Click on that Pay My Residence Down Payment part, and then your application will be fully completed and fully submitted.
And I know before we get questions, I'm sure they may have already popped up in the Q&A, but a popular one is what happens with that $500, Jess?
Yeah, so that $500 down payment goes towards that larger cost of residence. So you'll see that that first semester, that $500 down payment that you paid goes to the larger installment that's going to be due August 15th. So it's not going to just hang around and go nowhere. It does directly go to your residence experience and it helps pay for that first semester portion.
Thank you for checking out today's video. If you have any questions, you can always comment below. Stay connected and follow us on our social media channels to stay informed about upcoming webinars and get an insider sneak peek of Lakehead University. See you next time.